This is funny. This is funny. Um, wow. I am literally witnessing the 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 works of God and the enemy working so hard to make sure that we do this thing and prolonging time and I'm getting attitude and I'm losing my temper and then I put on worship music and I start crying and links are lost and it whoo. And the purpose behind this entire conversation is finding ways to de-escalate a situation.
Hmm. And
And I, I, I'm
I,
just
bel
like,
I believe you just said the reason why we went through this, because we had to de-escalate before getting into the meeting.
I had to, because I felt like I was the one. Because here was the thing, and before we get into the topic, my selfish ways was like, you need to start on time. This is looking bad. Look at your image. Da, 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 da. Like everything that was going on in my head.
Everything that's irrelevant.
It's not even the case. And it was just like, that's bigger than the message. It's like, no. But I commend both of you. You two were the calmest cucumbers in the salad. So I apologize and I thank you. And I'm saying that live on Facebook. Okay.
Let me say this. Bottom line, regardless, God always has his hand over it. Period.
Oh my goodness. I yelled at my baby, my dog. Anyway,
Poor thing. Poor Bo.
he be
Mommy's
all right.
sorry, Bo.
He can't
Mommy's
hear
sorry.
you. He
Uh,
can't hear you because I got my headphones on. All right. So I'm going to and this is funny because I've never shared a screen before. So I'm going to share my screen so that you all can see what I'm trying to do here. And it's here. Here. Is this it? Yeah. So the purpose of this talk is for us to learn how to de-escalate any type of situation. And we've noticed even recently that when you lack proper techniques to de-escalate a situation, the end result is fatal. Because we've just witnessed it with a young lady named Micaiah Bryant. First things first, though, what is de-escalation? So de-escalation means to decrease in extent, to kind of bring things down, lower the volume, calm down, figure out a way to refocus, recenter yourself, understanding your place. What is the real reason why we're in this situation? So bringing it down a notch, take it down a notch. How can we de-escalate, right?
so let me say this first.
Okay.
Just on that, Kiki, what you said, how do we de-escalate? The first thing that everybody needs to keep in mind is to de-escalate a situation, you got to de-escalate yourself first.
There you go. That's it. That's
Exactly.
right. That's right. Thank you. So we have some, so I have sorors that's checking in. Thank you so much. So the purpose behind this is so that we can bring attention to serious issues like violence in our communities and how it affects our youth, right? And so being a board member, an active board member for Roots Way, and knowing that our young girls can, we come from environments that can kind of bring forth these situations, maybe toxic environments, unhealthy relationships. So we're putting this platform together so that we can not only talk to our youth but also talk to our parents and our guardians, and allowing them opportunity to approach situations differently. So Micaiah Bryant, was killed just recently by a Columbus police officer after a fight had ensued, allegedly at her foster mother's house. It was reported, nothing is really confirmed yet, that she got into an altercation with a woman who is well under 30, and over something about, you didn't clean the house, it's just conversations that we have a lot, that a lot of our young people have, clean your room, you ain't my mother, and instead of someone saying, all right, look, what we doing here, let's just, you either clean your room or just clean it later, whatever it is, we need to figure out a way to de-escalate the problem. And unfortunately, that did not happen. And now we are talking about a young lady who will not see her 18th birthday. She won't be able to register to vote. She won't be able to get married, have children, start families, any of that. She won't be able to live life. And so now we're speaking about her in past tense. How could this have been prevented? Isis, did you want to say something?
Yeah. So the first thing I want to say is, I have to say this first and foremost, like, we got to get into our relationships with God. And I know that, I can't have an expectation for everybody's walk, with their relationship with God to be the same as mine. But at the very least, what we do know is that when you talk to him, you can de-escalate. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. And his spirit being present de-escalates. So that's first and foremost. But the second thing that I have to say, what he put at the top of my mind, right after him, is what I learned from Sharice Nance. Now, as you all know, Sharice Nance is a therapist, and I am an advocator of therapy, and I'm an advocator in just supporting Sharice and everything that she does, because she is a very good therapist. Sharice is actually the first therapist that we used in Ruth's Way, to refer our young ladies to. And she is very well versed in her area of expertise. So one of the things that Sharice has taught me over the years is meditation. I was not a believer. I'll say that right now. I was not a believer of the meditation piece. Between Sharice and my son, they would both tell me meditation works. And I would be like, well, I pray. That's enough. But meditation is not the same as prayer. Okay. So in my morning ritual, I pray first and then I meditate. And meditation doesn't have to be necessarily what the stigma that's in people's minds of you sitting on the floor and crossing your legs and humming. Okay. That is not all that's to meditation. Meditation can be as simple as when you're in a situation and let's say you're fighting, or the environment, is worked up and you see that it's going to be a fight. Just practicing your breathing, paying attention to the way you're breathing, and having your mind actually focus on calming down your breathing. And you can do this anywhere. Like, you don't have to be like in your house, like I said, crossing your leg, doing a whole piece. No, you don't have to do that. You can just be in a situation. Mm-hmm. Try it. Mm-hmm. Think about your breathing and just focus on bringing it down. That calms down your whole body. Try it right now and see how you feel. Completely different.
There are other, that's you're absolutely right. Because what it does is you center yourself, and you're calming yourself, and then your focus is trying to find the right breathing cadence. Mm-hmm. And you're no longer focusing on the outside irritators. Right. You will have to remove yourself from those toxic irritators. You'll have to, and we'll talk about other techniques as far as diffusion and de-escalation, but meditation is definitely something. I do that every morning when I go out for my walk. I make sure I don't have any, if I have headphones on, I'll have some meditation music or gospel music, and I'm just walking and I'm taking in the air, and nothing else is on my mind at that time. It's not the easiest. You do have to make sure you practice some type of discipline. It's not very easy, but you're definitely right on that part. Definitely. But
and in the event you make breathing,
put your face on the screen.
Oh.
Let's see.
See now?
Move it up a little bit. Yeah, we want to see your face. Go ahead.
There you go.
you have to put God first, but put the breathing there. You will be focusing on the breathing rather than the situation that's at hand. That will like bring you down a little bit. And as you continue to breathe more and focus on your breathing, then you can better deal with the situation in a way that you can de-escalate the situation.
I'm glad you said that, because just even today, knowing that I was getting agitated, I started to breathe,
Mm-hmm.
calmed me down, and then I was able to put some music on it, and I was able to separate myself from the situation, and then my mind became more clear. But here's the thing though, because our children aren't born with these techniques, their defenses are learned. And so their reactions don't involve those types of techniques. And so, you know, we kind of have to find out what the center of that is. Like, what was it that caused you to react the way that you did? And adults call it triggers. Teens
Yeah.
know that we're all equipped with triggers, something that causes you to react in a particular way, whether it's in an angry way, a happy, euphoric way, whatever it is, we're all caused to react by certain triggers. You know, I keep school safe, applied some insight on why some of our teens fight. And it's all about, when you look at this list, it's the power that other people have that you've allowed them to have over you, and how you react and how you make decisions. So if somebody called you a name, you know, somebody, you know, constantly disagreeing with you, someone hit you, shoved you, bumped you, somebody else is spreading rumors, somebody else, they don't know how to control their anger. And so your reaction is to reciprocate. Other people watching and encouraging the fight, egging it on. Other people, we're
Right.
giving powers to other people, and you're losing control.
And you have to keep in mind you're allowing them to steal your joy.
Yeah,
That's always my
absolutely.
focus. Like, if, let's say, that person over there called me a name, for me to allow that name to consume my entire being and I'm all irritated, guess what? They called me the name, walked away, went on with their day. They're not thinking about you, but you continue to allow them to steal your joy. And then that takes away your focus. You
Yep.
always have to focus on, I'm not going to give them control over me. You can't let people control you.
Right.
No.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, let's see, what's another one? These pictures, like, this is a trigger warning, because when you see this, immediately your mind is like, well, she could be helping, right? And so what that does is that triggers somebody else to express their opinion. Well, why aren't you doing anything? Well, I am doing something. I'm video recording, and you ain't gonna tell me what to do. And immediately now we got a problem. And so with that being said, it's like we have to be better witnesses. um I recall the and this is kind of off topic but kind of not, the George Floyd situation, where there were bystanders there. The bystanders were talking to George, calm down, everything is going to be okay, that's being a good bystander. But at the same time, what are they doing to stop the police from, when you had the situation with Micaiah, what were those people doing? They were fighting. Nobody, I did not see, and it was only a few seconds of the incident, but I didn't see one person say, everybody just stop. Just
Yeah.
stop, or take somebody, carry them off, be a positive bystander. Don't egg people on if you want to, that's right, she said your mother. And I remember growing up, Isis, I don't know if you remember this, you probably do. Baddest one touch my hand,
Yeah.
baddest one hit me first. You know what I mean? Like, that's just, that does not help the situation whatsoever.
And that's
It
what we
doesn't.
do
And
as
that's
human beings.
exactly
And I'm
what
not
we
even
do.
going to just put it on our children.
Yeah.
You want to immediately say that's what children do, but grown
Mm-hmm.
folks do it too.
Yeah.
We egg on negative situations and keep uh everybody in this negative environment. We're supposed to, guess what? You have an opportunity to be the positive light in every situation. You know, and that's
Absolutely.
where we need to focus. The other area of focus I wanted to touch on, Kiki, is we don't think, you know, when you're upset and a situation is blowed up, you don't think about consequences. Nobody wants to think about consequences.
No.
You know,
No.
like, and it sounds corny. You know, like the kids will say, it sounds corny. Don't nobody, Miss Isis, don't nobody got time to be thinking about. No, you have time. You have time. You have to think about the consequences, because today you not thinking about the consequences could be the difference between you living and breathing and not.
Right. The difference between life and death.
That's right.
And
one more thing, always focus on being the bigger person. Sometimes, and this is something that I always tell the girls, you know, you have to, sometimes you have to be the adult. Even when you're dealing with the adults in your life, it may be your grandma, your mom, your dad, whoever the adults are, sometimes you have to be the adult. And I know it sounds crazy, but focusing on being the bigger person, again, could de-escalate an entire situation. Maybe the adult does not have the mind frame right now because she's all upset and flustered, right? She doesn't have the mind frame right now, but just you being that ray of light, that positivity in the environment, you thinking about being the bigger person, being the adult, could de-escalate that whole situation.
So Isis is so on point, and what she's talking about is being a product of your environment and your living environment and your community. It does affect how you live your life. It really does. It affects it, because if you're not a person that will adapt environmental distractions, then you're outcast. And so now you have to react so that you can be accepted, or you reject it and then move on, and you're still not accepted. But if that's not a goal for you, then you're not going to worry about it. And we'll talk about that too. So people are like, okay, well, how do you de-escalate? So how do you do that? Isis touched on it. Mama touched on it. You know, we have to respect personal space. We are first to get in somebody's face. We are first to do this and nudge, especially women want to nudge a man. And we getting in, and remember, we used to do the shoulder thing. Come on, you hit me first. You hit me first. Remember, we walk around in circles with the shoulder thing. That, you know, that does not help. Sometimes we have to be quiet. I could teach a class on just shutting down.
Yes, yes.
In some cases,
it takes two. A person is not going to argue by themselves.
That's true. That's true. But I will shut down. My son learned that technique too. And it drives me crazy, because if I want to talk and he's not talking, I'm like, now I'm mad because, all right, I'll just talk to you later. Trevin will tell me all the time, you know what? I'm going to give you 15 minutes.
Yep.
And then we can either talk about it or we can move on, but you're going to be mad for 15 minutes and that's it. Right. So allowing silence of reflection, just to a silence for reflection, just kind of get yourself together, maybe walk away, breathing like we talked about earlier.
Silence, Kiki. You know,
nothing wrong.
That's a learned thing I had to learn in my own marriage. You know what I'm saying? Like as an adult, you know, and one of the things that we went to our marital counseling, one of the key things that our elders had taught us that resonates in my head whenever, you know, because we're not always going to agree, right? One of the key things he said was, your point is not always that relevant. And you have to think about, is saying out of your mouth, right, your opinion, is it so important that you want to argue with your husband? It's really, I'm not that pressed. I don't want to argue with nobody. I don't want no smoke, you know? Like, you know, people call me over the top, but in reality, I might be over the top, but I'm not walking around looking for smoke, Kiki. I'm not.
I don't say you're over the top. I always tease you and say you talk in all caps. And so I just be like, I don't have time I can't do it. So I'll just talk to you later. Because you be like, and I said, I'm not yelling. Be like, okay, well, all right. So, and I'll just dismiss it. Is, you know, if you know the person that you're having the argument with, you know what buttons to push and you know what
Exactly.
buttons to switch off. You
And they
do,
know yours.
and they know yours. And so it's like, oh, you trying to be mad. Oh, you mad now. Oh, okay. Oh, you want to argue. See, I'm not there. So no, I'm not there. So I'm gonna go and I'll see you
I'm gonna
later.
leave you to that
I'm gonna
all
leave
by
you to
yourself.
that. Have fun with that. Sometimes you gotta make them look stupid.
Yeah.
And it makes sense for adults. Again, we're talking about teens.
Right.
And if there's a teen that says that, you know what, I'm gonna just leave you to your feelings. You be like, what? Wait a what? How you talking to me like that? That's a mature person right there that's saying, I don't want no parts. I don't have time. I have way too much to lose.
And do
I
you
ain't got time for
realize
that.
it takes so much more strength
Mm-hmm.
for a person to make the decision to walk away? Let
Mm-hmm.
me say this too. Um, when somebody irritates you, they piss you off, it's easy for you to cuss them out, use profanity, and say all types of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody on the face of the earth can do that. And what I always tell the girls is we always focus on virtuousness and presenting yourself as a virtuous young lady.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It takes a virtuous young lady and a bigger person to just not say nothing at all.
It does.
Do you know how much energy that takes?
Look at our world leaders. Look at our world leaders. You have world leaders who don't say anything and make the biggest statement versus world leaders who constantly have to say something. I talk about your mother, your wife is ugly, and your kids is, you know, and saying things that get them banned off of social media. I'm not really talking about that, but silence is definitely key. And sometimes you have to take the higher road. You know, it's just, that is a learned technique. That is not something that people do all the time. You realize you are not winning. You're not winning that
Oh,
way. You're
no.
not winning that way. Yeah, and in the situation of Micaiah, where the police was called, it was reported that Micaiah's sister is the person that called the police. Police initially are not trained to de-escalate a problem. Their code is to protect and serve. When you walk up to a situation, their main responsibility is to assess the environment. The first thing I need to assess the situation. Who has a weapon? Who looks like a suspect? Who looks guilty? Who's angry? Who's the one that I need to be focusing on? This is when you're walking towards an event. So if walking towards an event and you see a fight, now I have to find out who is the biggest aggressor, who is the person that I need to apprehend, who is it? Oh my goodness, this person has a knife or a gun. Now I got to get my service revolver and I have to protect me and I have to protect everybody else. So the goal is to stop the activity from happening, but the first focus is not to de-escalate. It's not to de-escalate. And you know, according to this, you know, a lot of precincts are like, we need to reform our police departments across the country because the lack of de-escalation techniques. They're not doing that.
Let me say this, Kiki.
Yeah.
Um, so I want to say in the interim, let's start it out like that. Yeah, I fully agree that police officers should be trained in de-escalation, but in the meantime, we have to look out for us, okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we need to be intentional.
Right.
You know, you'll see movies from back in the day, and they're telling their kids these things. We're not practicing it. We practice it in this household. We're not teaching our kids what to do when a cop shows up. As a young Black child, I'm gonna put it out
Mm-hmm.
there, okay,
Mm-hmm.
male or female, what to do when a police officer shows up. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the hands
Mm-hmm.
up movement, prime example. You know, what is going on in the world, what has been going on for the past couple, what's been going on for eternity. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's been on a whole different level in the past couple of years, is what I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
say. But we should be more intentional. And the message that I'm receiving is that we have to teach our children how to respond, not react. Okay, because there's a difference. How to respond when a police officer shows up on the scene. You have to make sure that you are safe. Okay, everything that was happening beforehand whether you was irritated and you need to make sure that everybody knows you're the biggest, baddest. All of that goes out the window when a police officer that has a gun shows up on the scene. Because what you have to keep in mind, I have police officers that are very close to me, that my brother and sister are police officers. You know, they're the good ones. But what you have to keep in mind is everybody has not signed up for the force for the same reason. You know, that's in every profession.
That's
when you
true.
think of teachers, when you think of your physicians, you have to keep in mind everybody didn't graduate at the top of their class. I'll say that a billion times. So everybody did not go into that profession for the same reason, you know. And I could go on for days. Okay, so let me say one more thing. The spiritual warfare is real. And just like God has soldiers on earth and he has specific people in specific positions for a reason, so does the enemy. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Just know that in any situation, if it's a disagreement, an argument, any type of altercation, somebody can hear you. And because somebody can hear you, it's going to hit them it's going to put them in a position where this doesn't sound good. So I need to call the police. Even if it's no sound, you just in a park barbecuing. Somebody is calling the police because they feel their safety is at risk. So something is wrong. And so always assume the police is going to be called. And how are you going to behave when that happens? How is that going to work? In the Micaiah situation, I'm like, this young lady had a knife. How many of you saw her with the knife? If you knew that the police were called, nobody took the knife? Nobody took the knife?
When they saw the police show up, Kiki, nobody told her, drop the knife.
Drop the knife. Drop the knife. So I'm sure at home now, they're having this conversation. And that's why we're here having this conversation. So, you know, it's time to have the conversation. And Isis said earlier, you know, some of this could sound corny. You know, our young folks think y'all just don't understand. You remember, we were 14, we were 13, we were 12, we were 16.
And Kiki said earlier in her, she did a Facebook Live a couple of days ago. She said earlier, you know, she told everybody, you know, I'm not a fighter. I never was, but I had to fight. Yeah. And so did all of us. Like, seriously, we grew up in Homewood. All of us, the three of us, we all grew up in Homewood. So
I grew up on the hill. I grew up on the hill.
You know what?
I grew up on the hill and Homewood.
I grew up on the hill. I'm sorry. I just.
Why are they?
Wait, how we said? Let me holler at you. Let me holler at you. Let me holler at you. I grew up on the hill.
Minister Bellotti, what school did you go to? What school did you graduate from?
I graduated from Westinghouse, but I didn't begin at Westinghouse.
Oh, okay.
I just want to say I grew up on the hill. I didn't grow up in Homewood.
Where's all your friends from? Where's all your friends from?
The hill, Homewood.
The hill.
North side.
I'm gonna need y'all to handle this Sunday dinner. We got to get through this.
Let me say this. I grew up in Homewood and I got bullied. I'll say that all day. I got bullied.
I got bullied too. Yeah. My mother said Westinghouse, honey.
Thank you. Thank you, Mom. Thank you so much. Thank you. I got my back. But when you get bullied, you know, somebody walk up to you and punch you in the back of your head. You can't just fall to the ground. You got to fight. Like, I'm not going to.
Somebody set my hair on fire.
I cannot.
Someone, I lied to you not. He is dead now. Brucey on the hill, on the school bus. I used to get teased because my father was a radio personality. My father had a job to entertain the entire city of Pittsburgh with hip hop music that everybody loved. And I was being teased for it. And this boy I had a Jerry curl. Oh God, if I could take that back, I would.
That's why.
But took a lighter to my hair. Brucey, that was his name.
I'm so sorry.
But you know, bullying that's a situation. And also the product of your environment. It's something that you get cool points. We had a main bully in the Hill District, a main bully. But everybody knew who she was. She never went around thinking that she was a bully. She never made it a point for you to know that she was a bully. It was just rumored that she was a bully. And it was hard. We grew up in the projects. And I was not a person that adapted to my environment. And I would get teased because my father made me play music instruments every year, a different instrument. I was in the projects coming home with cellos and flutes and clarinets because my father was like, you're not going to be a product of your environment. But I still had to fight. I didn't want to fight. My mother made me fight. She said, you're going to the biggest mouth. You're going to the biggest mouth in the neighborhood. But mom, she didn't do anything to me. She will. So you're going to fight her today. And win or lose, you're going to make a point that she can't bully no more. And I lost that fight, but I won her respect. But I don't even know if we're on topic, but
that's fine.
Talking about bullying, do you walk away from a bully? I don't know. Was Micaiah bullied? Allegedly she was. And that's why she had the knife. She was trying to protect herself from a 28-year-old woman that was coming to fight her. See, and this has to stop. This has to stop.
I made that point when we did our interview with Channel 11. You never know what our young people are going through. Right. Prior to, all people see is the end result. You see all these recordings on Facebook with all of these fights, but you have no idea what she was going through prior to that fight happening. And I'm not just saying that day what pissed her off. You don't know what's going on in her life.
And especially foster kids. Yeah. Especially foster kids.
Conversations with our children on how are you doing that?
Right.
They come home from school. Okay, how was your day? Oh, good. Okay, keep it moving. No, we have to stop doing that. We have to stop doing that. Get into your children's heads and figure out what is really going on. What is their life really like? Not just what you see on the outside, their day-to-day, talk on the phone to their friends, go over so-and-so's house, go to school, do your homework. There's so much more. Go back, rewind like we just did, to when you was that age. You had so much going on. Way more than what people see on the outside, So when you see a child, a teenager, okay, and she's doing whatever she's doing, whether it's fighting, whether she's cussing somebody out, being disrespectful, never, 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 your immediate thought should be, oh, she's just bad and disrespectful. Because you don't know what she's been going through. You have no idea.
One thing I will add is the time that you spend giving energy, whether it's positive or negative, it's time you can't get back. So you could just chalk it up as a loss or chalk it up as something that you've earned. It was a lesson learned. You cannot get that time back. And when you are incarcerated, trust me, all you want is time to live. It's time to live. So, we talked about products of our environment. It's a decision that we have to make. Is this something that we want to be? Do we want to be the product of our environment? Do we want to be, our environments are different, and that encourages our behavior. Your behavior is different if you're growing up in the projects or underserved communities, and your behavior is different when you are of a privileged community. It's different. When you're of a privileged community, everything is that you expect everything. You expect respect. Everything, everybody owes you something. That's the privilege. I don't have to listen to you. I'll do what I want. And that could bring on bullying. That could bring on lack of confidence, self-esteem, and insecurities, and so many other things. Now, on the other side, if you're not a person that's interested in that type of lifestyle, can bring out positive, where you can look at your blessings and say, I want to help somebody else. You know what I mean? But when you're growing up in an underserved environment, you're fighting all the time. You're fighting yourself. You're fighting your peers. You're fighting your caregivers, your parents, your grandparents. Not everybody, in these underserved communities have a mom and dad at home. Some of them are in foster care. Some of them are, being raised by a single parent or a grandparent or an auntie or an uncle.
That internal war with yourself, that ain't nothing nice, okay? Because I would say, what, 99% of our youth are having that internal war with themselves, low self-esteem, you know? It's
Yeah.
not that, and it's not that, you know, they're just they just have something to prove to the world. They have something to prove to themselves. And as a result of them not having self-esteem and self-love, they're so worried about what everybody else thinks. You know, you can't tell a young person, well, you can't worry about what everybody else think. You can't worry about your peers. Yeah, that sounds good, but we remember being 16 years old, 15, 16, 17 years old, you know, and that's the only thing that was relevant. You wasn't worried about what the elders thought, what your parents thought. You was worried about what
But your
everybody else
peers thought.
thought.
My
Period.
father told me, be a leader, not a follower.
That's
That's
right.
Don't follow the trend. Be a leader, not a follower. And I never understood what he said. He's like, why do you want to wear what everybody else is wearing? Why do you want to do what everybody else? That gets boring fast. You be the trendsetter.
Right.
But see, that's the conversation that adults are having with the kids. But if the adult and the child is having the same conversation, there is no progression. So if that adult never experienced that and had that conversation or learned that lesson while becoming an adult, they can't teach that child that same thing. When a parent says, I want you to be better than me, I'm telling you, no, you can't go to this party because this is wasted time. You can't learn how to be great socializing. You got to work hard towards your success or towards being an entrepreneur. If you want to go to college, this is what you have to do. I didn't do it for myself. So now I got to be hard on you because I want you to be able to succeed. I want to show you what's right for your life because I didn't do it. And so I know we live in the hood and I know that this is not a safe environment. I understand that, but let's just work on this together. And what parents don't see is their children are watching them. So if you're a single mom, kudos to single moms out there, man. I'm telling you, kudos to single moms, especially those who are just want to do something for themselves. There's juggling kids, juggling a part-time job, maybe going to school, staying up late, trying to get their degree. Your children are watching you. And if you're not doing that, your children are watching you.
Yes. And may I also add that you have to be careful about letting people label you. Letting people label, like for an example, I went to Westinghouse also, and people said that I wouldn't become anything because I went to Westinghouse, and Westinghouse was a bad school. You can't be a product of your environment. You know, you have to be careful what you let come out of your mouth. But the thing is that we were there to learn, and we knew that we were there to learn, and that's what we did. Our mothers told us, you're going there to learn. You ain't going there to be in all that foolishness. And I lived like about 3 or 4 blocks from the school. Was I acting up? Sometime I was. But you have to know what you want to be and strive for that. You have to be careful what you let come out of your mouth, whether this is a parent or whether this is a child. Because once it comes out of your mouth, you can't take it back. A lot of things can be de-escalated by just not saying something that even though you're sitting there thinking it and you want to say it so bad. To de-escalate that situation, you don't have to let it come out.
And you don't always have to have the last word.
Exactly.
You don't always have to. This is not a competition. It's not a competition. And I think the days of respecting your elders are gone. The days of telling somebody you're not my mother, you're not my daddy, you ain't my boss, you're not the boss of me. That's what took over.
You know, like, we appreciate wisdom. I love talking to my elders. You know, there's so much wisdom, but
we get that now. And so because we get that now, that's why Ruth's Way is in place. That's why all these amazing organizations are in place to provide that resource and those conversations for young people who are not consistently getting those conversations. That's absolutely why we are in place. And if you are a parent, a guardian, a grandparent, a teacher, a counselor, mama, you okay? Oh, Lord Jesus. Okay. if you, Jesus, oh Lord,
Jesus, take the wheel.
Jesus. So if that is you and you need help, it's okay to ask for help. Don't think that it's you're being a, it's you're doing a poor job as a parent. Don't think that I'm weak. No, ask for help.
Parenting wasn't designed for nobody to do alone. That's
It
not the
does
way it was
not
designed.
come with a book, honey. Parenting does not come with them. No, no. Ask for help. Call Isis. Email. Log on to rootsway.org. Reach out and invest in your children. Investing in your children. Conversation is free.
Yes.
Conversation is free. Listening is free. That's the thing, though. The key is listening.
Yeah.
You gotta say something to make you want to listen, to make them want to listen. I'm sorry. I don't have all the answers. I know this is hard.
But you
What
know
can I
what?
do to help you?
I'm gonna try to find out for you.
I'm gonna try and find out for you. We're gonna go through this together. Let's do this together.
Yes.
So my mother and I are super close right now. But when I was younger, Kiki and Carrie, I tried my mother one time, never again. My mother's what, 5'6", 5'7", like 5'11". She still scared me.
Yeah.
Because that's just, but see, that's how we were raised. Like, that's how we were brought up. Like, I'm not your friend. I'm your mother.
Right.
I'm your mother. And we lost that became disconnected these past few generations.
Parenting is not supposed to, like, it's supposed to be a good experience, but it's not a feel-good experience, right? We had this conversation a little while ago, when...
Yes, ma'am. She said it's respect.
That's yes, right. Ma'am. When you're put here to parent, like I told my son, same thing what you just said, Kiki, like, I'm not your friend, and he has replayed that for me several times. But I was put here to be your parent, and I'm going to parent that 110%. The grace and the good feeling comes when you can sit back as an adult and look at your adult child that you raised, and they are a wonderful person. That's what and that lasts for the rest of your life.
That's building a legacy.
Right.
That's building a legacy. And so what your mother did, she built her legacy through you and everything she learned, even if it wasn't something that you agreed with. That was how she learned. And so what she did was she instilled everything, all of her challenges, everything that made her the strong woman that she is today. She instilled that in you. And then that's building her legacy. And so in order for you to build your legacy and her legacy, you took all of that and instilled it in your son. And so that's what we have to think. How are you building your legacy? We're not going to be here forever. So how are you? I still get, oh, you Sly Jock's daughter. Oh, you must be Carrie's daughter. That's building a legacy. Every time our children are out in the public, you represent who raised you. So if that means you're not raising your child is out here just being all thotting and bopping and doing whatever the heck they want to do.
You want to be their friend.
Nah, boo. No. Bring that back. Bring that back. And we're just saying it because this is off of experience, is what we've seen, and being community leaders, being mentors, being business owners, being women, being mothers. We see it and we're sharing it. We're sharing our testimony with you. We're not therapists. We're not trained. We're not psychiatrists. We are mamas. And we are seeing way too much of this troubling generation. This generation, you all are so smart. So smart. You have technology in the palm of your hand. I don't know if that made you lazy. It made you feel privileged, where you don't really have to think much because the world became so easy for you. But life is still life, and you still have to work hard to have a good life. And if you make bad decisions, it's going to be a little bit more challenging for you to have that life that you always dream about. So we got to start with making the best decisions, checking your environment, learning how to de-escalate a situation, learning how to
How to
walk away from
de-escalate yourself.
confrontation, de-escalate, de-escalate, and have a conversation. You know, it's unfortunate that Makai Bryant just, you know, it's unfortunate, it's sad. And immediately, like I said on Channel 11, I thought about my nieces. I have a niece who has 3 keys and 15 keychains. And on two of the keychains, one's a mace and I think pepper spray. And I don't know if she got a Swiss Army knife. I got exhausted looking at her keys. She only had 3 keys. And I said, why does one person have to have all of these devices of security? Why? What life are you living? This has to tell you something. This is the life I'm living.
And it's not just her as a person, she's a child.
No, this is my adult niece. I think she's 20 or 21, I think. But you're a mom. This is your life. This is the life that you're living. If you have to have this much security, let's think about, where am I that I have to have all this to be me? Let me refigure that. Let me figure that out. Let me wait, something ain't right. Why I got to have all these notches, all these locks on my door? Why I got to look behind me all the time? Let's rethink how you're living. Let's figure it out. If you are in an environment where you constantly have to watch your back,
seriously, it's not worth it to me, Kiki. Seriously, it's not even worth it. I'll just remove myself because I can't change people, right? But I will put myself in a different environment and surround myself with people that are bringing positivity into my world. And I insist on it. Like, we won't let certain people in this house. I always go back to the spiritual realm because they bring a certain energy into the house. And we've worked very hard to create this environment, you know, and the spirit that you get when you walk in this house. You know, we let certain people in the house and they left a whole lot of negative energy to the point where our puppy was still alive. And we would literally watch him sit there and watch, and he would look at the door, and he would look at us, he would look at the door, and you would literally watch him just staring and watch spirits walk to the door. I mean,
wow.
You have to be very careful.
My mother's one person to be like, I don't like it here. I could say this now because I don't work there anymore. My mother, I worked on a weekend at a radio station and the office was closed and she put holy oil on everybody's door entrance. And that Monday, the boss came in and he was like, what the heck is on this door? And I remember my mother was putting when she was putting the oil on his door, she said, oh, I just feel a bad presence right here. Just something ain't right. Just something. And she was so right about it. You know, your energies definitely, if you have a negative, if you are associated with people who bring negative energy, you're going to either adapt that thing, you're going to grab that thing up and you're going to be living that same thing. And there's no growth there. There's nothing wrong with you changing your circle. Having a positive circle, having a good circle of friends, people who want you to win. You have to have friends who want you to win. It's okay. It is okay. You know what? I'm gonna see you later, girl. Yep. Tell me how the party was. I'm gonna be over here with my band camp geek friends.
That's right.
I'm gonna be over here playing the piccolo with Susie.
Where I can be me.
Where I could be myself and not be teased for it.
No.
Yeah.
I ain't got what? Nope.
Yeah, definitely. My mom says your poor decisions make consequences in life. That's true. You have one decision that could take you here or here. This place is a good place. This place is a bad place. God gives us the authority over our decisions. That's one thing.
You always can make the choice. You
can. He gives you authority over your choices. Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully this was helpful. You know, again, we're not therapists. We are mothers. We are community leaders. We are people who just want our kids around to build your legacy. And so have the de-escalation conversation with your teens. I'll see if I could post this slide. I'm gonna send it to you, Isis, and maybe we could put it on the website or something like that. But just some techniques. You got YouTube, you got Google, you get all types of tips online.
There's an app that I use. It's called Serenity, and it's a meditation app, and it has all levels on it. If you want to meditate for 1 minute, if you want to meditate for 10 minutes, let me put that out there. The Serenity app, very useful. Very
now,
helpful.
is this something? Now, can we get a teen to download that app to calm? That's a thing. The focus is to make sure these teens learn how to de-escalate.
And that's something that's that's in your lane. That's what you all do. You download apps all day, and you're always on, online.
I don't know what type of data plan y'all got. Y'all got apps for days, child. What y'all signed on to? I need that type of plan. Shoot, always telling me I'm out of data room, and they got all types of apps. But I don't have anything else to add. I just thank those who are watching. If you're watching later on the replay, I appreciate you. And Isis, thank you so much just for saying yes, because you was just like, yup, go do it Saturday. All right, bet. And was no question asked. I was like, oh, okay.
So thank you, Kiki, for being obedient. What God told you to do, reaching out and putting it.
The enemy tried it. He tried it.
But they tried real hard.
I didn't witness that. Ooh. Okay. All right. I love y'all.
All right. Love you too.
All right. That's it. Y'all have anything else to add? What's the website? Rootsway.
Rootsway.org. That's RUTHSWAY.org. Reach out if you all you want some tips. You want
masterclass. Oh, that masterclass is good, child.
We also have consulting services for parents. So just some help to say parenting is not meant to be by yourself. And that's what we
If you need something for your teens, summer program, summer employment, Rootsway has resources there on site. So you want to get your child out the house, she got to do something. I know I'm trying to get Samaya a job. She don't learn how to do hair, babysit something. So
we also have an employment program as well.
Yeah.
So we have 3 summer programs. Check out the website. We have an employment program that not only pays the girls while they're learning, but at the same time, we put them on job sites when they successfully complete the training portion. And it's not just regular sweep up the floor jobs. It is actual jobs that they may want to choose as a career and or internship.
You had me at they get paid. So get out my house. You're going to get you a job. All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks everybody for watching. Hit up Rootsway if you have any questions, if you need some help. That's why they're here.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you all for watching.
Thanks.
See ya.
Bye.